Welcome back, everybody, to the stream. It is Saturday afternoon, October 5th. Starting a few minutes early today. I was ready to go and I thought, I just want to get going. I just want to get started. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. We're starting a brand new project today. I don't know how long this is going to take. I think I'm going to predict that this will take 4 streams. So I think this will take this weekend and next weekend for sure. Maybe longer, and I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine with that. So because the last 2 projects we did were sort of like the smaller one-off projects. And what I want to do this time is get back to working on a mock-up. So I picked this mock-up, which I've had, again, I think since 2016. It's called Delta. And yes, this is a masonry blog layout. This isn't really going to be a blog, though. I am building this so I can use it for myself, for a new website for myself. Good evening. Thank you, Dawn. I have a message in the chat. Happy to have you here. Hope everybody's excited to do some HTML and CSS. So let me describe what the plan is for this mockup. This is meant to be a blog, but I'm going to build it as a portfolio, and it has options here up at the top for filtering. So once we get this built, I do plan to pull in some dynamic data. I'll probably just manage the content by building my own JSON file, and then we'll pull that in with a promise, and we'll see if we can do some filtering. I mean, we will do some filtering. So we probably won't get to that, I'm sure, till at least next weekend, because I want to make sure that we can actually get this built out first. This particular mockup has different options for headers and navigation. So one of the mockups is ideally what the search would look like. And I think this is really similar to what we built on the Soho layout, which can we actually pull that up? Soho. I do still have it on Heroku. So if you missed that, this was the first thing that we worked on. It was called Soho. And when we click this, we have this drawer that slides in. So I'm going to do the same thing for the search. And then it has an example of some different types of navigation. This doesn't have any navigation, but it has the 3-dot. I guess this is an alternative to a hamburger menu. The 3 dots also indicates a menu. I'm completely fine with that. And then it shows an example of the slide out menu. So I think that I will go ahead and build the menu like this as well. I'm not going to mess around with sub navigation on this particular project because it's just too much. I just don't want to do that again. I mean, when we did the Soho layout, it was 8 sessions, 8 streams, and a good 4 of those were in time. Exactly, 4 of those were working on sub navigation, and I just don't want to deal with that right now. I am, like I said, also building this for myself, and I'm really just trying to build a new portfolio website, and I don't need sub navigation. And also, I think I've already proved that I know how to build sub navigation, so I'm not worried about proving that point again. So we're just gonna keep it simple. So let's go ahead and start. And if you didn't watch the Soho, if you didn't watch me build the Soho layout, my approach to these mockups, my approach to every new project that I start is we get all the HTML in place first. So we're just going to be writing HTML for the rest of today. And then I'm sure we won't start on any styling until tomorrow. maybe we'll have time to do some styling today, but I think today is pretty much going to be writing HTML. We'll start on the styling tomorrow. Oh, here's the other thing that I want to say about this layout. I love a masonry layout, but what I learned from doing the masonry layout last weekend, well, the last 2 weekends, is that the masonry layout is always going to go in columns. It's never going to go in rows because the CSS3 grid spec just doesn't support that yet. It's an experimental feature in Safari, and I think we turned on the experimental feature in Firefox to test it, but it's not part of the spec yet. It's not supported in every browser. So the other reason I don't want to do a blog is that I don't want my dates to run in columns. I don't want any of the things. This is going to be a portfolio layout, and I just don't want it to rely on the fact that I need the newest information first, because it's not going to work like that. We're going to use columns. We're not going to use grid because it's just not supported. So that's what I have to say about that. So let's get started working on... I did get a project started here. And I was also thinking that I should maybe like build a template or something. I don't really want to build a template. What I want is I want to start every project from scratch because I enjoy starting my projects from scratch. So that's my approach. That's what I'm going to do. So let's get started with HTML5, and I'm calling this the Delta layout. We will also get this pushed up to Git. I have a Git repository started, and I also we'll get this pushed to Git, and we'll get this deployed to Heroku. That's the other goal for my streams, is that at the end of every stream we're pushing to Git and we are deploying to Heroku. So all right, so we have a header with a class of header, and I'm just going to put some Orem Ipsum in here. Honestly, I have to tell you, I'm just so glad I decided to start this channel, because I do this for my job. But if I had to assign a percentage of the amount of time that I really spend just doing this, building UIs in my job, it's probably... so Abdallah, are you telling me that you also start every project from scratch? I mean, I've built templates in Git before, but I love just naming a folder and adding my things and doing it from scratch every time. I enjoy that so much. So I'm right there with you. I was going to say that what was I saying? If I had to assign a percentage of time that I spend in my job actually just doing good old building UIs, HTML and CSS, it's probably only 30 or 40% of my time at my job, because I'm in meetings and I'm, talking to people. I do more talking in my job than I do actually writing HTML and CSS. So I just so look forward to the weekends when I can just practice. That's the other thing, is if you're in a job and you are doing tasks and you're doing the things that are assigned to you, and that's, hopefully if you're a working developer, you are lucky enough to be in that position. It's awesome to have somebody else ask you to build things, because people like my job or my clients ask me to build things that I never would think of or never would dream of. But I also need to go off on my own and build things, because I need to just notice things that I see on the web, on other websites, other ideas, and I need to build those things myself, because those are the things that other people aren't going to ask me to do. So I just really, really look forward to the week, this time I've set aside on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays, to Abdallah. Thank you. Am I saying your name, Abdallah, correctly? Thank you so much. I appreciate your kind messages in the chat. And I know that you've shown up here in the past before and watched some of my streams, and I so appreciate you because I'm a new channel building an audience. And yeah, I just appreciate all the kindness. So, okay, Angela, you are talking too much. Need to do work. Okay. So let's go grab some icons. I don't know what this little arrow is for, but I'm going to go ahead and grab it and stick it in, and maybe we'll find a reason for it. So let's grab an arrow, let's grab search, and let's grab the 3 dots. And I like to get my SVGs from Ionicons because they are so simple. And they are also open source, and we love that. Let's go to our projects. This is the Delta layout. We'll start an assets folder. And we'll grab a search. And let's see, I don't know what that is. It going to be menu, dots? What is it? It's not menu. What would it be? Let's scroll through. So it's not this. Here it is. What is it? Ellipsis horizontal. Okay. We'll grab that. All right, so in our header, so these, anytime I'm, oh, we actually have to fire up our live server. There we go. Make this a little bigger. And anytime I do something that's clickable like this, I generally put those in buttons. So we'll do button class. We'll just call it an icon. And this is, I generally do a class of access hidden. So I don't, what is, I'm not even sure what this is supposed to be. I'm just going to call it arrow. We might end up taking that out. I literally have no idea what that's supposed to do. I couldn't find any other mock-ups that gave me any indication of what that was supposed to do. So, or any other mock-ups as part of the package for this Delta design. And this will be our search. Well, I have to say, I think it's so fun that there are people like me who find it interesting to watch coding live streams on YouTube. I mean, honestly, I love all types of live streams on YouTube. Right now I'm really into a part of YouTube called LawTube, which is attorneys who live stream and talk about like high profile cases that are happening here in the US. Um, but also, there are coders out there who are doing live streams, and I think that is so cool. And it was the reason I decided to do it, because I've wanted to do a YouTube channel forever, and I've made videos on and off. Um, it's really, I really didn't want to spend hours at home though making like tutorials and then editing them and posting them, and I thought, just live stream, just code and live stream. And then if I want to take those live streams and re-edit them, I can. But if there are other people out there like me who actually enjoy watching other people work, maybe you'll find some people out there who enjoy it just like you do. So we want this to be Aria labeled by, and we'll just do arrow. And then this is Aria hidden, which would be true. So we want to give this also an ID of arrow. And then we'll give this an ID of search. Aria labeled by search. Aria hidden. True. And our menu. All right, here's our buttons. There they are, perfect. Yeah, I don't think we need anything else in the header. Good. Make this a little bigger. This also has load more stories, so we could definitely use JavaScript to load more. The good thing is I don't know anyone going live stream except for me. Oh, I haven't seen anybody doing exactly what I'm doing. Like, there's somebody that I have been watching who is building a Figma plugin. He's a Node developer. He's full stack and mostly works in Node, and he's building a Figma plugin. I ran across somebody else who I don't remember what their name is, but they were live streaming. They were working on a Java project. Now, I'm not a Java developer, obviously. I don't do a ton with Node because I am very front-end focused. I mean, I can set up a Node project, and I'm not into Java at all. But I enjoy watching other people just code and like talk through their process. I think that is such a fun experience. I think it's really important to see how other developers work. I also think that it's easy if you're paying too much attention to the noise, it's very easy to think that good developers can work very quickly and never make mistakes or never need help. And I'm tired of that attitude because I think I'm like a decently good front-end developer. I mean, I sure do enjoy it, but I am not perfect. I make mistakes all the time, and I definitely sometimes need help. Things just don't work and I don't know why. And I just wanted other developers to be able to watch I want to normalize the fact that this is not an easy job. As much as we love it or we think we are good at it, it's definitely not an easy job. You should always be learning and trying and figuring things out and knowing how to ask for help. I think that's the hardest thing, is asking for help. So, okay. So we're done with our header. Let's jump into the main. I have to be careful to not talk too much because, yeah, if I talk too much, nothing's going to get done. So, okay, so let's do, I'm thinking, should we put this in a navigation, though, implies that you're being taken off the page. So, and these are going to be buttons to sort the cards. So I'm not going to put that in a nav. I'm just going to put that in a div for now. And we'll give this a class of button container. And then these will also be buttons with a class of I'm going to call them button sort because that's what they are going to do. Button sort. One, two, three. Okay, so we've got all lifestyle inspiration. Travel ideas design. Okay, and next we need a container. I'm going to do a section. And I'll give this a class. I'm going to give it a class of grid, even though we're technically not going to use grid. And then I'm going to make each of these articles. And we'll give this a class of grid item. And we've got an image, so I like to put in a figure tag. We'll give it an image. And our source will be, let's do some lorem pixum. And then I'll make sure that before next weekend, that I write I'll write a JSON file with some content and curate some images. Hopefully I stick to that. So 200 by 300. So we've got, let's zoom out a little. So I feel like this, and this are, we'll call it 300 by 200. So the opposite, 300 by 200. So there's like let's make a note here. We've got 300 by 200. And we've got, I'm going to say this is a square, a 300 by 300. And I'm going to say that this is 300 by 400. Okay, So give this a class of item image. What else do we have here? We have a title, and so we've got a title. I'm leaving out the date. Okay, so we've got a title. We've got categories. Category, bullet, date. I'm just going to do a category. And then we've got a text snippet and a link. So we'll make this, I guess, an H2. Do we have another? We don't really have an H1 on the page. So I think it's in our best interest to put an H1 here above this content. So we'll go ahead and do that when I'm done with this. So we'll call this secondary header, start creating today. And then we'll do a div, the class of item, categories, and creative. And then we've got a text snippet. So I'm just going to put that in a paragraph tags. Give this a class of item, copy, the little lorem ipsum, and then a link that I'm also going to put in paragraph tags. It makes me think that I should put a container around the copy and the link. We'll just do this for now, and we'll see what happens when I start styling. Learn, read more. Oh, hang on, this is supposed to be a link. Yeah, that works. I think that's everything. Yeah, I'm going to put a div around these paragraphs. This just doesn't feel efficient. Yes. Okay. So we need 6 of these. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we know that these are going to go in columns. So the second one should be 300 by 300. Then we're going to have 300 by 400. And then we'll have the 300 by 200. Yes. Yeah. Oh, and we do need to choose. We need to pick a font. Where's our mockup? So this, I think the font is, it's a little narrow. They also have it's mostly sans serif, but the category is going to be a serif, which I would be fine using the default Times New Roman because I don't see any other serif besides that. So if we need to add another font just for the categories, we can, but I'm just going to use Times New Roman for that. So something a little bit narrow. Let's see. Maybe Open Sans? I do like Lato. Roboto condensed. I think this is a little too condensed. Noto Sans. I do like Noto. Rapoto? Did you mean Roboto? Did you mean Roboto? I do like Roboto. Yeah, we can do this. I like it. So let's grab light, regular, and I'm gonna grab medium. I want light, regular, and medium. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and stick that in there. I love it. Roboto. Yeah, I think Roboto is a great font. I like Roboto. I'm partial to, what are some of the ones that I really love? I like Open Sans. I wouldn't say I love it, but I like it. I really like Montserrat. I haven't used this one in a long time, but I do really like that. Lato, I think Lato is a excellent font. I think it looks so nice and so clean. We use that at work on all of our sites at work, and I really like that a lot. I think Oswald is nice. Railway I've used before. Nunito is a good one. Yeah, there's lots here. I really want at some point here to use Montserrat in an upcoming project. So, okay, there's our variables. Love it. Let's grab, okay, no, Angela. Stay focused. Okay, so here is our section. And what else do we need? You know, we probably are. I consistently underestimate the amount of time that it takes me to write the HTML. So we probably are going to be styling today. Yeah, we're only like 35 minutes in. Okay, so let's do a button, load more stories. Let's see here. Well, we'll just do a button. And I'm going to give this button the same styles as we'll just do button sort, and if we need to change those styles, we can. Okay. All right. Okay, here's our footer. So instead of Delta, I'm just going to put my name. So, do we want an H1 in the footer? I don't know, do we? Can I put an H1 in the footer of a web page? You can technically put an H1 in the footer, but it's not a best practice for web accessibility and SEO. The H1 is meant to represent the most important heading on the page. Okay. If you're adding another heading for a secondary section, it's better to use. Okay. So we'll just do a div. And I'll just call it title. Or I suppose we could just give it the same class as primary header, so it'll be styled. We'll give it a class of primary header, and it'll at least be styled. And then this will definitely be navigation. So we've got Facebook, Twitter, Behance, and LinkedIn. The only one of those that I use are LinkedIn. So let's do GitHub, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Yeah, we'll do. So we'll do GitHub, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And I'll give this a class of social nav, and we'll give this a class of navigation. And then copyright. All right. I can do the div here too. Copyright. And we'll put in a dynamic date with a little JavaScript when we get to it. Yeah, that works. Okay. Yeah, I'm consistently underestimating the amount of time it takes me to write HTML. It just doesn't take that long. So let's finish setting up our SAS files and see what we can get styled here today. All right. So we'll do normalize. We'll do, nope, that's not what I wanted. We'll do, we'll just call it main for our imports. Normalize variables. We'll do underscore. No, you know what? I usually get that backwards. Let's do this as main. And then this could be styles. And then let's do a header. Let's do a footer. And then let's do one for the blog. We'll just call it the blog. And let's go find normalize. And then let's get all these in here. So we'll do at import. I usually do normalize first. And then I do my variables. And then we'll go ahead and do we'll do the header. We'll do main. And we'll do the blog. And let me go grab my Sasquatch, which I literally never remember. I'll get it from oh, no, we didn't. Wrong one. Where did I put it? I think I put it here. Yes. Let's see here. Okay, we need to change the so our Sasquatch should actually be styles and styles. I don't don't see anything compiling. Compiled styles to style.css. Hello, thank you for joining the stream. Good evening to you as well. Happy to have you. So I'm going to take out the WebKit because it doesn't like, it's probably not compiling, I guess, because it doesn't like the WebKit prefix. So I'm going to take that out and we'll see if that... No, we're still not compiling. How come? Why don't you use the extension? Which extension? Oh, that's why. It's because I renamed the file. You're really not saving it? Oh, you know what we can do? Close everything right now. The watch SCSS extension. Oh, you must be talking about a VS. Is there an extension for VS Code? I didn't know about that. I'm not using it because I didn't know about it. Let's check it out here. Live Sass compiler. This is .scss only. Oh, look at that. Watch my sass. Thank you. I had no idea that even existed. All right, let's get back to our files here. All right. All right, there we go. Can I tell it to, how do I tell it to how do I tell it where to do it? Okay, let's find our settings here for this. Okay. Live SAS compile, auto prefix. Save location. Compressed. Save path should be set the save location. Yes, please. Okay, how do I kill the terminal? There we go. Now let's do, oh, not watching. Watch SAS. Love it. Thank you so much for telling me about that. Seems obvious. Seems like I should have known. Love that. Love it. Thank you so much. That will make my life easier. Okay, so let's get that linked. And we might as well start a JavaScript. There we go. All right. So if you haven't tuned in and watched me before, very comfortable with CSS. I love JavaScript. I think the universe runs on JavaScript. It does not come quite as naturally to me as CSS. So you're going to see me fumble around with JavaScript and ask a lot of questions to ChatGPT about JavaScript. So, but it gets a little easier every day, and I honestly love it. I think object-oriented programming, JavaScript, I just love it. So once I started expanding my world beyond building UIs and just sort of like fumbling my way through, well, in the old days it was jQuery, and really building, well, we use Vue.js at work, so I build a lot of Vue apps. Yeah, love JavaScript. So okay, I think we're ready to start styling this bad boy. Where are we at? About an hour. Let's see what we can get done here in the next 30 or 40 minutes. And yeah, this is an awesome start. So let's get our header first. So we're really going to want our search icon and our ellipsis to be in their own little group. So let's go ahead and just put a div. And we'll call this I'll just call this menu items. I spend so much time thinking of class names, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. All right, so well, let's do some variables too. So we'll do white. We'll do black. And I like to use just 222, just like a nice dark gray. And then I usually just do kind of a medium gray color. And then I usually do a light gray color. Whoops. Here. This is generally what I grab to get started. So I change box sizing from content box to border box. It's usually the first thing I do. And then on the body, we'll just say margin 0, padding 0. I'll say font size 100%. I usually set my, well, we'll just do font weight to 400. Font style will be normal. What else do I like to do here? Line height, color, and background color. For line height, I usually do 1.65, but I'm always open if that doesn't work. My font color will be black by default, and the background color will be white by default. And of course, that's all going to be different for the header. That is fine. And then these are the classes that I generally put in as kind of like my toolkit classes for images and that access hidden class. So images, I changed the display from inline to block, a width of 100%, a max width of 100%, a height of auto. That makes them nice and squishy and responsive. And then this is the class that I generally use for access hidden. So anything that I want to hide, but I still want to be read out loud by a screen reader, I will just add an access hidden class. Anything that I want to hide that I do not want to be read out loud to a screen reader, we just display none, those bad boys. Yeah, so those are kind of some good starting styles. Here's our variables. Let's see how our page looks, if we're at least getting... Yes, oh yeah, that's working. Oh, and we have to set our font family. So our font family is going to be right here. There we go. Nice. Okay, let's get that. Let's go ahead. Oh, and it looks like our icons. Do we still see our icons there? SVGs, we have learned in the past, are also inline by default. So those are our only SVGs, so I'm comfortable giving them some global styles. Giving them display block. I'll do a width of 35 pixels by 35 pixels just to get started. And then we'll give them a fill of, well, I guess white. And then we probably have to change fill, none, stroke, current, oh, stroke, not fill, okay. Fill, none, stroke, stroke. Fill, none, stroke. Got it. So we'll change this to stroke. There we go. Nice. And then let's do like a global style for the buttons too. Might as well. Which is just basically appearance, none. And then, well, I'm just gonna do that because I'll be giving all of the buttons like unique borders and backgrounds anyways. So just as a global, we'll do button appearance none. Yeah. I'm fine with that because I'll be changing all of that based on where they are anyways. Okay. Let's dial this back a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to do the header. So our header, oh, and you know what we also need is we need a wrap. We need a wrap class. We'll just call this inner wrap. And usually for an inner wrap, I like to do, that's where I put that kind of parent flexbox display property. And I do really like to use flexbox. So we'll say display, well, hang on, let's do this first. So this is going to be a max width of 75 rems, which 75 rems, as long as your font size is 100%, 75 rems should be 1200 pixels. So to me, that equates to a standard 12 column layout if every column is 100 pixels. We'll do margin 0 auto to center that, and then I will say display flex. Flex flow row. I'm going to say row wrap. I'm going to say no wrap for now. Justify content, I usually do space between, and then align items. Well, probably, usually I do flex start, but that is something that I end up having to change a lot depending on whatever it is I'm styling. But I think that's a good set of global styles generally to get started. So Yeah. So for the header, we'll do background color is going to be the black, which is the dark gray, and color will be white. Yeah. Perfect. Love it. Let's get that inner wrap around everything. Hmm. Hang on, I have something out of place here. So here's our button container. Oh, I think this is supposed to go on the outside of the section. Okay, there we go. And then we'll do an inner wrap here as well. Oh, those did not. Oh no, they're inside. I think that it might be better to keep No, it's okay. We can just give this button container. Okay, Angela, focus. Back to the header. All right, everything is looking the way it's supposed to. Everything so far is looking the way it's supposed to. We're good. So let's fix up these buttons. I'm gonna get us back to, okay, back to 125%. Right about there. Okay. So our button class icon, and let's say border none, background transparent, and that should take care of those. Yes, and they're really, really big. So let's change that. Let's take this down to like 20 pixels wide. Yeah, that's a lot better, and I think that header just needs some padding. Do we want to put padding on the inner wrap, or do we want to put padding on the header? I want to put it on the header. So I'm going to give it like 20, well, should we use pixels or rems? Let's just give it a rem all the way around and see how it looks. Yeah, that looks great. Literally do not have to do anything else. Flexbox is amazing. Oh, our buttons have a lot of padding too. Yes, I put that in the wrong place. There we go. Although our buttons should be 48 by 48. So right now, that one is 32 by 22, 32 by 22, also 32 by 22. So we want to give it some, well, it has padding by 20 by 20. So it has an extra 12. We want it to be, so right now it's 32. What's 48 minus 32? 48 minus 32. 16. What's 48 minus 22? 26. Well, right now it's just 20 by 20, so let's give it 28 pixels of padding all the way around. Oh, that's a lot. Yeah. So that was too much. Oh, probably 14, not 28. There we go, 48 by 48. And then we probably don't need any padding. Yeah. This works for me. I like that. And then let's make sure that our buttons, let's make sure that all buttons have a cursor that's a pointer. Even though I know that's kind of controversial, I think it's a better user experience. So there we go. I think that's a better user experience. We have our 48 by 48 tap target. We're hiding our text in a screen reader friendly way. Yeah. I wonder if these should need a little separation. No, I think it's okay because the tap target is really big. So I think it's okay. Yeah. So there's our header. And I generally don't do any responsive styles until I'm near the end of any project. So I'm not going to worry about anything being responsive right now. It's not really a priority. Okay, so let's start working on the main body, which I'm realizing does not have a white background. It actually has this light gray background because the cards are white. So let's change those default styles. So I'm actually going to change this to light gray. And then let's start, we don't need our header anymore. Well, at least not today. I don't think we need our variables anymore. Let's do this. we go. So let's make sure that main also has some padding like we did with the header. Where I guess we put our padding around the icons. Okay, that's fine. So our main, oh, let's see here. We should probably be using rems. So if I was going to do 40 divided by 16, that would be 2.5. Okay, so let's give it some padding of 2.5 rems on the top and bottom, and I'm going to say 0 on the left and right for now. And that may change. It might be in my best interest to, I haven't done this before because I kind of tend to roll my own every time I start a new project, but even if I wasn't going to build a full-on template, because I really do like doing this every time I do a project, it might be good for me to at least make my own little SAS, what would you call it, set of mix-ins for like the breakpoints and padding and things like that. Yeah, I'm going to think about doing that. That might be a good idea because this is the part that I don't like doing every single time I start a new project. I don't love sitting here thinking, oh, should I put padding on something? Like, I do kind of feel like I should have that figured out ahead of time. Here we go. Yeah, anyways, okay. Here we go. So let's get these buttons centered and styled. So our button container, we want the width to be, well, it's inside the flex. So we'll do flex 0, 0, 100. And then we need to push that down. Here's the inner wrap. And then we should be able to do the same thing here, right? Why aren't you pushing down, falling beneath it? All right, I'm just going to carry on. Do I need to put, is it because these images? Oh, it's because I have no wrap. That's why. Yes. Let's see here. And that is why it needs to be wrap, not no wrap. There we go. Okay. And our section is just called grid. do flex 100%. And I'm gonna take this off the images. Yeah. And then, okay, button container. So we want our buttons, button sort. We want these to have a border on hover active, and I'm going to say focus. We want the, well, but the focus is not a border, it's an outline. So I'm not going to do anything with the focus pseudo class, but hover active gets a border, and then I would say the border would just be transparent on everything else. So we'll say, and then the background is also transparent, background color. Transparent. Text transform is uppercase, and then we'll give it a transition. And then we'll say hover active. Oh, we didn't give it a border. We'll do border 1 pixel solid, and I guess we do have a color here, don't we? This kind of teal color. What color is that? Say, oh, we want the color to also be, I have to say what the color is also. The color is, you have to say, even though the color is already black, you have to say what it is in order to do the transition. So the color would be teal. And the border color would also be teal. I think we can do that. And it's going to need some padding. We'll just give it 1 rem of padding for now. Oh. Almost. We're almost there. What did I do wrong here? Oh, border. Transparent. So here's our button container. Can we just text align those? Yeah, we can. All right. I don't know, does the timing seem right? Why does I feel like the border, yeah, I think it's fine. Okay. And then I'm going to, let's do an active class also, because that ultimately will be powered by some JavaScript. So I'm sure we will have that, like on click, we add an active class to the button. So we'll just go ahead and add that in the markup. And then, yeah, that works. And then let's also do text align center. Yeah, that works. I mean, everything, it doesn't look exactly the same as the mock-up because a lot of times the mock-ups just don't have text that's big enough, in my opinion. Although we do need some more space here. Oh, and I guess this header could have more space too. After this project, can you start projects like the ones on the front end mentor challenges website? Front end, do you mean mentor or masters? Front end mentor? Oh, front end mentor. Front end coding challenges using. Improve your coding skills by building realistic projects. Log in with GitHub. Challenges. Bento grid, HTML, CSS. Yeah. How much does this cost? Unlock Pro. $8, so $96 for a year. Premium challenges, 2 per month. Design files, 5 per month. I mean, yeah, I could definitely do something like this. I wouldn't want to sign up for front end mentor and like copy something that they provide as paid. But if you had an idea or something that you wanted me to do, like if you could take a if you could take a screenshot of something that you wanted me to do, or if you could explain functionality of something that you want me to do and tell me, send it to me. I can tell you my email address. I'll put my email address in the chat here. You can definitely go ahead and email me if you have an idea or a screenshot or functionality. Like looking at some of these challenges. So a personal finance app, a product list with a cart, hangman, contact form, social links profile. I mean, some of these things I don't know how to do. I mean, we would be doing it together because, but I'm totally down for learning how to do stuff like this. I have no idea how to do a game. So this would be super fun. Although some of these are free. Yeah, I guess some of these are free. We could do... I mean, I guess if it's free, I could sign up and we could work on some of the free ones together. Is that what you meant? This challenge is perfect for testing your CSS grid and responsive skills with this bento grid layout. So here's the desktop design, here's the mobile design. Brief. Your challenge is to build this bento grid and make it as close to the design as possible. You can use any tools you like to help you complete the challenge. So if you have something you'd like to practice, feel free to give it a go. Your users should be able to view the optimal layout for the interface depending on their device's screen size. Download the project and go through the README file. This will provide further details about the project and help you set it up. Want some support? Join the community. Assets provided, Figma design file access. I mean, I personally feel like there's enough here that I wouldn't need the Figma designs. JPEG design files for mobile and desktop, perfect. That's all I would need. Style guide for fonts, colors, optimize image assets, README file to help you get started, HTML file with pre-written content. I would totally be willing to do this. And I think as long as these are free, I think it would be super fun to do some of these in a live stream. So if you want to pick one of these out, or if you have one specifically that you want me to do, 100%, I can do this one next. I hope it's okay, though, that I want to finish what I'm currently working on first. And then the next one, we can definitely do one of these challenges. I'll go ahead and bookmark this. Feel free to send me an email and let me know which one you want me to do. And I'll totally do it. I think this would be fun. So I think this mortgage calculator looks pretty cool. Your challenge is to build out this mortgage repayment calculator and get it looking as close to the design as possible. You can use any tools you like to help you complete the challenge. So if you've got something you'd like to practice, feel free to give it a go. Your users should be able to input mortgage information and see monthly repayment and total repayment amounts after submitting the form. See form validation messages if any field is incomplete. Complete the form only using their keyboard, so it needs to be accessible. View the optimal layout for the interface depending on their device's screen size. See hover and focus states for all interactive elements on the page. So what's the mobile design? Oh, I love it. And what have I always said? Well, I know I've said this in a couple of streams, which is that it is, in my career, in my experience, it has been very rare to get both a desktop mockup and mobile mockup. The only time a designer gives me mobile mockups is when they have something very specific they want me to do. Otherwise, they almost always just give me desktop and say, you figure it out. I mean, I work with good designers who trust me to do it the right way. So I love that they are providing both desktop and mobile design. Yeah, I think this would be super fun. This would be super fun. So, I mean, are there other people on YouTube doing these types of challenges? Front end mentor channel. Oh, look at that. Of course there are. So I have a message from Bailey. She says, "Hi, Angela. I was procrastinating, scrolling, and came across your stream." Bailey, bless your heart. I had to stop in because I love supporting other women in tech. How's your blog going so far? It's going awesome so far. So there's people here definitely doing these front-end mentor challenges. So product list with cart. Let's go back to challenges. Product list with cart. Oh yeah, we can definitely do this. Practice updating the UI in multiple places based on user actions. The starter download also includes a JSON file to help you practice populating the DOM. Your challenge is to build out this product list project that includes a functional cart and get it looking as close to the design as possible. shopping carts are hard. I've definitely done them in the past, and they're very, very challenging. But e-commerce sites, I mean, e-commerce is everything. So it's definitely, as developers, front-end developers, it's in our best interest to know how to do a good e-commerce add to cart. So heck yeah. Abdullah, thank you so much for asking me to do this. We will definitely do this. And I want to answer Bailey's question. First of all, Bailey, thank you so much for popping in while you are scrolling. I so appreciate it, and thank you for the lovely message. The blog is going great so far. We have all of our HTML written. We're just starting to write some CSS. I had this request from Abdullah to do some of these challenges on front-end mentors, and we're definitely going to do this. I think I think that the blog is going to take this weekend and next weekend. So let's look at the calendar. Like, let's just plan it out, shall we? So I think that we'll be done with the blog by the 13th. Excuse me. I think we'll be done with the blog by the 13th. I also know that I am not going to be streaming on the 19th because I have an event that day. I'm going to be gone, but I was thinking about doing a Friday night stream on the 18th, and then I'll be here for my normal Sunday afternoon. So let's start working on the product list with cart on the 18th. I'm going to schedule a stream for that Friday night. And yeah, I think that sounds super fun. I love this. I did not know about this website. So I would love to work on some of these challenges because I need to get better at my vanilla JavaScript skills. So I love anytime I can build a really cool UI and get better at my JavaScript, I'm down for it. I'm totally down for it. Yeah, there's some cool stuff here. And the other thing is, I'm not a very good designer. I'm not a very good designer. So when I can get like good designs, like really good creative designs, I love that because I think I am really good at writing CSS, and the thing that will make you better at CSS is getting really nice designs, really good, fun, creative designs. So, excellent. All right, let's get back to it. And so, Bailey, we are just at the point now where where are we here? We are, oh my God, I'm right there with you. Are you also a framework junkie? So yes and no. The framework that I use most often is Vue because that's what I use at work, where I work. This challenge has a JSON file. I think you talked about it. Yeah, I love that it would have a JSON file so I don't have to come up with my own content. I really like that. So I use Vue.js most often because that's what I use where I work. So everything we built, we work in this proprietary CMS called Cascade, and it's the back end is Velocity, which is like this open source kind of Java based templating, but our front end files are all mostly Vue.js. I've worked on a couple of Angular sites. I have personally built 2 Angular sites, and I've never used React. Nobody's ever asked me to use React. I've never had a deep desire to really sit and learn React. I have to say, Bailey, my heart is with HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript. That is where my heart is, and it is like my first love, CSS and JavaScript. So, but I have to say I do love Vue. I mean, I think Vue is really, really awesome, and I think it is the framework that not a lot of people talk about. I think it's always, I always hear people talking about React, and then maybe people are talking about Angular, but I never hear anybody talking about Vue, and that's I love Vue. So, but I don't think that I'm planning to do any frameworks on this channel. I wanted my channel and my streams to be very focused on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, because my philosophy is that if you are good at vanilla JavaScript and you have a general understanding of frameworks or even just object-oriented programming, you could probably jump into just about any framework and learn it pretty quickly, especially with a resource like ChatGPT. So, yeah, so we are framework agnostic. We love all frameworks on this channel, but we don't really use frameworks on this channel. But we still love frameworks on this channel. Okay, Angela, you're talking too much. So let's go ahead. Let's get some more padding in our heading. I'm going to add just an extra rem of padding on. We'll just do on the top and bottom. And then let's add some more padding to the main, because there's a lot more padding here. Let's just give it 5 rems. I'm not going to put any on the bottom for now. Did that do anything? Let's bump it up to 10. Bailey says, that is super interesting. The fundamentals, like you said, are the absolute most important, so having those skills down are key. But I have to say, Vue surprised me. I may have to check it out. Yeah, I mean, it surprised me too, and here's the thing. I didn't choose it. I inherited it when I got this job. I've been in my job now for almost 7 years, and that was just how everything was built in Vue. So it was literally the first thing that I ever learned. Then I did learn, and by learn, I would say I've worked on like literally a handful of Angular sites. So I've built 2 Angular sites. And so, I mean, I tend to learn out of necessity, and the only reason I am somewhat resistant to React is not because it seems like there's anything wrong with React. It's just that I haven't had a client or a project that has required me to learn React. If I am going to sit down and work on any framework, it's probably going to be something related to my job, because I do so much in Vue. And I did Angular because, why did I do Angular? Well, I was hired to do like some layout and CSS on an Angular site, and I enjoyed working on Angular, and then I built 2 sites using Angular, and I did enjoy it. Although compared to Vue, I think it is a little more, it feels a little over-engineered to me. I'm just saying that as a like kind of a first impression of Angular. It feels over-engineered to me compared to Vue. Yeah, and of course I have nothing to compare React to because I've never used it. So, but I know everybody loves it and all the cool kids use it. So, okay, let's see if we can get this grid working. So first we need to get all of this margin off of those figures. I image, margin 0. And let's go find how we got this grid to work from last week. So what we ended up doing last week is column count and column gap. So our grid except we want this to be 3, and I'm going to say a column gap of 1 rem. Look at that. And okay, we're off to a good start. And let's get our footer out of the way. No, our footer's already out of the way. Why do we have content flowing? So we have content here from the bottom flowing up to the top. Was not expecting that. Is it because of this button? So Bailey says, no, Bailey, do not apologize. So I've been live streaming now for almost 2 months, and I haven't had too much attention. This is the most attention I've had, and I love it. So trust me, I am delighted that you're here and delighted that you're asking me questions. So let me read this. Abdul is saying, Angela, stay focused. That is so cool. Sorry if I keep pulling you away from the project. I love your perspective. As a junior developer, do you have any advice you could offer to someone getting into this field, especially with today's seemingly horrible job market? Okay, let me talk and code at the same time. So yes, I can give you some advice because I am a hiring manager at my job. My advice to you is to do exactly the type of thing that I'm doing right now. Do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is think of things that you want to practice or build, because we all use the internet just like everybody else, right? So if you see something that looks interesting or cool, sit down and build it. Just try to build it. Make sure that you're pushing to your GitHub and you stay active on your GitHub. Definitely learn some DevOps. And by DevOps, I mean, even if you're just deploying from, say, GitHub to Heroku, so you have a place to host whatever projects you're working on, if you could get, say, even like a DigitalOcean, I use DigitalOcean, any place where you could get just like a little LAMP stack, which is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, is ideal for static projects with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So even just being comfortable with the command line, being comfortable with Git, showing that you're building UIs, especially if you love front-end development, build these little projects. Show that you can write a README and explain what you're doing as part of your README, as part of the project. Show that you know how to deploy from GitHub, or that you know how to rsync from the terminal, or something like that. So the more you can show, the better you will be. The more you will get noticed when people are reviewing resumes. That's what I look for. I don't check to see, well, like, what kind of boot camp did they graduate from, or do they have a CS degree, or, I mean, we do look at things like that, but what I'm really checking to see is, do you have projects? Have you been building things? Have you been practicing your skills? Can I get a sense of where you're at with your CSS and your JavaScript? Do you have an eye for design? Not, are you a fantastic designer? Do you have an eye for design? Things like that. Things like that are really important. I would say also, be the type of developer who doesn't need everything spelled out. So don't be the type of, I do run into this, developers who need everything explicitly explained for them on how to do the job. So if you can, I'm going to put this button after. Oh, I'm actually going to put this, well, maybe I'm going to do button, sort, load, more. Be the type of developer who can take on a project and have it be open to interpretation. And what I mean by that is, don't require your boss or your direct supervisor to have to explicitly explain every single thing or every single task. Be willing to take on, I'm not doing a very good job articulating. Be willing to take on projects that are open to interpretation and say, yes, I can do the requirements gathering. I can have a conversation with the stakeholders and ask questions. It's very rare, even though my boss and I are really good at requirements gathering, it's very rare that every question has been answered, and not every question should be answered, because developers are problem solvers. So being able to solve problems, being able to take on a task where every question hasn't been answered is really, really important. So I guess what I'm saying is, make sure that you have really good soft skills, Bailey. Make sure that you are comfortable asking questions. If you are given a set of requirements or a scope and you don't understand what you're supposed to be doing, be willing to jump in and try to solve those problems, but also be willing to go ask more questions. I would say having really good soft skills and having a portfolio where you are able to, so maybe something like ask 3 before me, be capable of trying to figure something out before falling back on someone else. I mean, yes, that's a good way of putting it. And especially with ChatGPT, I mean, ChatGPT is your friend who never gets tired of answering your questions. And believe me, I've been on the end of people who are like, oh, ask me anything, anytime. And then I ask one too many questions, and I learn really quick that I should not ask any more questions. So definitely learn how to leverage ChatGPT to ask questions. Be good at problem solving. I think having some DevOps skills is huge. If you can show that you've been working on little projects like this, and that you know how to keep your GitHub up to date, and you know how to deploy those projects into a nice little cloud server, like a LAMP stack, I think is the best. Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, and being comfortable with the command line and the terminal, those things will put you miles ahead of a lot of other junior developers. The DevOps thing for sure. So soft skills, GitHub, DevOps and then just practicing and showing just showing enthusiasm. I wish it was an easy answer, Bailey. I wish I could just tell you like what the secret sauce is to getting a job, because I know it's hard. And I think that I'm incredibly lucky that I'm in the position that I'm in. Oh, this is outside. I put it outside the section. Angela, focus. No, I didn't. It's still inside the section. Hang on here. See, I was talking too much. Not your fault, Bailey. My fault. Oh, yep. I want to put it right outside the section. There we go. So obviously that's not what that button is going to look like, but I just wanted to make sure. I think it's so interesting. So we have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we have 6. That this content is spilling over into the other column. Do we just need to give this like more padding? Flex grid 100%, column count 3. Just on the top and bottom there. Oh, it's ending. It's ending. It's got like a clean cutoff down here at the bottom. So that's why it's spilling over. So how do we make this so it's not getting cut off there? Interesting. And I don't think I noticed that last week. Bailey says, wow, that is incredible advice, and I do appreciate it so much. Yeah, anytime, Bailey. If you have questions and you want to shoot me an email sometime, I'm always happy to answer questions. I felt like my answer was a little inarticulate, but if you got something from it, I think that's amazing. I, too, want to see more women doing this work. So, well, I want anybody who wants to do the work to be doing the work, but I do appreciate seeing more women doing more women in technology. We need diversity in technology. If everybody's the same, then we're not getting... We need more diversity because we need different types of people solving problems. That's what it really is. Technology is solving problems. So this has like a clean cutoff. That's why that is spilling over. Okay, so let's ask ChatGPT about this. I'm using column count to make a masonry style layout. The bottom of my page, how do I word this? The bottom of my page cuts off the content and it spills into the next column. How can I make every column fit the longest piece of content. I don't know if that's... Okay, the issue you're facing occurs because the column count property in CSS doesn't allow for the content to stretch or fit each column to the longest item automatically. Instead, it simply breaks the content across the defined number of columns without taking into account the length of individual elements. To create a masonry style layout where all columns fit the longest piece of content, it's better to use CSS Grid, but that doesn't work. CSS Grid gives you more control over how the content is laid out and allows for items to span across multiple rows or columns, resulting in a cleaner, more responsive masonry layout. Yeah, but we learned over the last 2 weeks, the grid does not work for masonry. Okay, so Abdullah is saying, I want to tell you a trick maybe helps you with images. You can create a div and set the image as a background for this div. Yes, I do know about that trick, but it's not accessible by a screen reader. So if the images are an important part of the narrative and you want the screen reader to read the image, I personally think that it's a better strategy to not set images as a background. The place where I think it is a good idea is in banners or heroes, because in my opinion, banners or hero images don't always add to the narrative of the page. So I tend to, with my images, I tend to use object fit and object position to style those inside figure tags. That's the strategy that I use. And then with alt text, those also get read out to the screen reader. So I could see, though, why you would do that if you felt like the images didn't need to be accessible, basically. So the grid issue with a masonry layout is, so specifically using grid with masonry, we did a masonry layout last week, the last 2 weekends, and what I learned from that is that masonry as a layout isn't supported in the current version of grid. It's part of the, what do they call it, the experimental CSS3 spec for grid. So we were able to, in Firefox, enable the experimental mode of grid masonry, but it really doesn't work unless this does at least put them in columns. I don't think this is going to work. Let's see. Yeah, see, masonry does not work right now as part of grid. That is a bummer. That means that the content if you want... Yep. So I've definitely used that before. Um, I mean, your way of doing it, Abdullah, is definitely a little cleaner than my way of doing it because I am doing some absolute positioning. But like I said, the reason I do it with object fit and object position is so it's still accessible to the screen reader. Is there a way to make a background image screen reader friendly, like with an alt text? If there is, I would be open to using it more often, except for the fact that I don't want to put all of my images in my CSS. That's the other thing. Okay, if you want some items to span multiple rows or columns, you can use this. But this is not, okay. So, display grid does not work with masonry. Does not work with masonry layouts. It's experimental. It's experimental, but not fully supported. Is there another way to stretch the column? Yeah, I know I'm right. We already had this conversation the last 2 weekends. Oh, yeah, probably. Okay. Yeah, Flexbox would work, wouldn't it? Okay, you're right. The display grid property doesn't fully support masonry layouts. Another way to create masonry layout was sticking with the column count approach, or similar multi-column layout techniques would be Flexbox combined with JavaScript or CSS grid. So with Flexbox, you have to set a height for your container. Flexbox can simulate a masonry layout by creating flex containers and allowing the flex items to wrap in a column layout. The key is that the items will naturally stretch to fit the longest content in each row, or in this case, column. I don't want to use JavaScript. So with Flexbox, you can do flex flow column wrap instead of row wrap. Adjust the percentage for the number of columns. I don't want to use JavaScript. Yeah, Bailey, you should have been here 2 weekends ago. It was a shit show. It was the worst. ChatGPT gave us every possible solution. Here's the thing about AI is AI can only give me good data if it's been trained on good data. And a lot of people have tried to solve this problem and come up with different solutions for masonry layouts with grid. And ChatGPT gave me every single one of everybody else's solution. And then we had to figure it out for ourselves. Okay, so I am going to go the flex route because I know the container will stretch. We just have to, when you use display flex to do a masonry column layout, you have to be more explicit with the height of your container. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's see here. So I'll take this out. So we'll do flex, or no. We'll do display flex, flex flow, column wrap, and then gap 1 rem. And then do we need to do like align items? Flex start? I mean, that's the defaults. We maybe don't have to. I think we can. And Abdul, excuse me, give me a second here. As soon as I get this layout, I'm going to show you how I style the images. If you're still here, I'm going to show you how I style the images. And then the item is grid item. I have noticed sometimes I will spend more time trying to get AI to actually send me in the direction I'm trying to go because it never seems to get me anywhere until like the 8th prompt. Yeah, I call that out stubborning ChatGPT. So, and that is also going to be the sign of a good, I mean, it's basically being the equivalent of a really good Googler, right? The better, I noticed that I was a better developer and I was more confident in my skills as a developer when I just got really, really good at Googling. So that is also the sign of a good developer, is being good at prompting ChatGPT and good at Googling. Okay, so our item is, I'm not worried about that. I guess I'm just gonna do the, I think I'm just gonna do the flex basis. Let's see how this looks. Let's see here. Oh, so that should be okay. This section can be 100%. So why flex basis? Oh. This flex property should be working. Oh, it's because we have to put a height on the container. That's why. But still, You shouldn't need a max width. This flex. So, okay, so the container is 3,000 pixels high. So here's where you have to do like, height of 3. Okay. Oh, is it because flex start? Here's our article figure. So these are all stretching. Flex basis. Why did it tell me to use flex basis? Adjust the percentage for the number of columns. Okay. So it didn't tell me to do this. I did it. So let's take this out. Flex basis. Oh no, wait. Flex wrap. Wrap. What is flex basis? Okay. Here. Flex basis property sets the initial main size of a flex item. It sets the size of the content box unless otherwise set with box sizing. In this example, flex grow and flex shrink properties are both set to 1 on all 3 items, indicating that the flex item can grow and shrink from the initial flex basis. The demo changes the flex basis value set on the first flex item, causing it to grow or shrink to fill the available space. The other flex items will also change size. They will be at least min content sized. For example, when the flex basis of the first item is set to 200 pixels, it will start at 200 pixels, but then shrink to fit the space available. Okay. Yeah, see, if you don't say column, it goes in rows, which is what this is doing now. So you have to have a flex flow of column wrap. You can't just do wrap, or it's automatically going to do rows. I actually did know that. And if it's a line items flex start, why is it stretching? It's stretching all the containers. Or is it? Okay, hang on 1 second here. I'm gonna check something. Flex, column wrap, flex start, and then just a width. Okay. But you do have to give it a height. Display flex, flex flow, column wrap, align items, flex start. All right, that's what I did. So we're just going to give that a width. I know that doesn't work. So let's make sure I'm on the right. So we're on the parent container. And then this is the child. But why aren't you wrapping into columns? What if I just change this to 30%? Oh, is it because of the height again? So if we do a height of 1,000 pixels, okay. We just have to get the correct height, but this is a masonry layout. Let's see here. Why is there so much space between these columns? Open MDM and search masonry layout. Yeah, experimental is the problem though. It's experimental, so it won't work in any browser. So Bailey says, I do have to head out and run some errands, so I may miss the end of the stream. But before I leave, I just wanted to say thank you again, and we'll be here tomorrow for the next one. Have a great day. Thank you, Bailey. Have an awesome afternoon. Thank you for stopping by. So this is experimental. This will not work unless you're in a browser where you turned on this experimental feature. So I already know this from last week. So unfortunately, this doesn't work, but this is working. So we are getting kind of our pseudo masonry layout. Here's the thing with this though, we just have to, the way you get this to work is that you have to control the height of the container. So if we change this to, there we go, 1500. So we had to cut it in half. So the original, there we go. So now we have our pseudo masonry layout. So the only thing I don't like about this is that you have to really control the height of the container in order to get this to work, but it does work. And flex doesn't work. So if we take width out and we just do flex 0, 0, 30%, I don't know why that doesn't work. Although we could just have like a max width of 30%. Not sure what the difference would be between. Because if we have display flex, is it because of this? Is it because I don't think that makes a difference. I'm just going to put a width on here. That's the easiest. And so even with a width, you still don't like that. Oh, I forgot to put the height back on. Okay, that's probably why. So we're going to have to do we have to put a height. I don't know how else to do it without putting a height on. 1500 pixels. There. Well, I don't think it's ideal, but it works. Yeah, and the flex does not work for columns. Huh. Okay. You know, it's not the end of the world. So I think then when we're loading more stories, if we were to load 6 at a time, then we would also have to increase the height 1500 pixels every time we load 6 more stories. So we just have to remember that when we're doing our JavaScript and we're loading more. And then the other thing I'm not sure about is all of this extra space down at the bottom. But, oh, well, it's the height, isn't it? Duh. So let's see here. So we can comfortably load, if we wanted to leave some wiggle room, maybe 1350. So we can comfortably load 6 stories at a time every 1,350 pixels, which, should we be using rems? What is that? 1350 divided by 16, 84 rems. You know what? It's a solution that is perfectly good. I mean, it's not worse than what were we doing before? Column count and column gap. It's not the only disadvantage to using Flexbox with a column layout is that we have to be mindful of the height. We have to set the height of the container. But column count doesn't work because it cuts everything off down at the bottom. It doesn't stretch the containers. So that's fine because I really want this layout. So I think there is a way, but it's kind of hard. Use position relative and absolute. Yeah, I mean, that type of positioning is pretty aggressive. It's totally appropriate in a lot of situations, though, but it's really, really aggressive. I'm going to go with this. I think this is a good, I'm happy with this. So the last thing I want to do here is I want to show you how I'm going to style these images. And here's where I am going to use, Abdullah, were you answering my question about images? I'm not sure what you're answering my question about. I think you're answering my question about masonry layout, but I am going to use position absolute with the images. So let me show you how I do this. So the item image, let's go ahead and do position relative. And we need width 100%, and we actually need height to be, no, we need height to be 100% also. Oh, wait a second, I have to think about this. Because when the way I do this way, because I want the images to all be the same size, but I want these to be, I want these images to be the exact size. Okay, so this is a little bit different. So let's just see what happens. I think, it's just going to be, this is going to be totally different. The way I do it is that I normally have these images all be the same size, but the whole point of this was that they could be their natural size. So, yeah, so I think we don't need the height. We just want the width. We just want it to be the full width of the parent container. So I don't think we need position relative. And we want, I'll put it up here. I think we can still do, can we do object fit cover with 100% height? 100, I don't know if that's going to work. I think the parent container also has to have a height. No, I guess, did that work? Yeah. Perfect. So we need to, because we changed those image sizes, we just need to change the height of our section. It's nice to see at least one thing working. $93 rems. Nice. That makes our image, let me see here. That makes our image sizing really nice. Do we need this? We might not need that. I think we just need a width and a height on our images. Are they responsive? Yep. Nice. I don't think we need object fit. Do we need, I don't think we need a width on that either. I think our images just need, they're already, yeah, that's all we need. So I'm sorry, Abdullah. I was all ready to show you how I do this, but I don't think I need it. But I promise you, when we do the, where is it here? When we do the product list with cart, because all of these images are the same size, I will show you how I resize images in containers to be responsive and proportional and accessible. That is the number one reason that I don't use a background image when I'm sizing and styling images, is because as background images they are not accessible because you don't have access to the alt text. So that's the reason why I don't do that. But again, there are lots of situations where it's okay to put images in as a background image. I think hero image, heroes or banners are a great example because, in my opinion, they rarely add to the narrative value of the page. Not everybody agrees with me. Oh, it still needs a little bit more. Okay, let's see here. Let's do 94. Yeah, this is going to be this is really the downfall of this type of layout. So I think this is where I'm going to end it for today. We have an excellent start. We have an excellent start on this. I'm very happy with this, and knowing that we need this much room to accommodate 6 items, I'm fine with that. So when we load more stories, we're just going to have to remember to change the height on the section to handle those extra stories. So let's go ahead and commit this and get it deployed. Let me see here. Did I add? Let's see. We'll just delete you. And then let's get a let me see here. What else? I guess that's it for now. And then we'll just say Delta blog layout. Oh, and we also need to, we need an index.php. We have to change this to home. Index.php for Heroku deploy. Oh. Okay. Let us go ahead and deploy. All right, there we are. Well, it's a start. It is a start. All right, well, I'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. This was super fun. Thank you to all of the people who watched the stream and jumped in and chatted with me and asked me questions. I love doing this. I love having you guys here. Super appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.